The gilded corridors of Buckingham Palace had always been a stage for quiet elegance, whispered protocol, and centuries-old tradition. Yet on one fateful day, a decision shattered that equilibrium and sent ripples through the very heart of the monarchy. Prince William, heir apparent and custodian of a legacy both revered and burdened, made a choice that had never before been recorded in the annals of royal history. He revoked a senior royal's access to the most sacred state rooms. The air inside the palace grew thick with tension. Servants and aides, sworn to discretion, watched from the shadows as a ripple of disbelief spread among those who had long considered these chambers untouchable. Shock was only the surface. Beneath it simmered a potent mixture of betrayal, resentment, and a subtle, dangerous fear that this was more than a personal slight. It was a declaration of power. The senior royal, long accustomed to privilege and unspoken authority, received the news like a thunderclap. Whispers of indignation moved through private hallways, muttered threats barely contained in gilded drawing rooms, and a quiet simmering rage that no amount of etiquette could suppress. For the palace staff, it was a moment of silent horror. They had witnessed disputes before, conflicts woven delicately into royal protocol, yet this was different. This was absolute, irreversible, and laden with consequences that none dared to predict. Eyes that had seen the monarchy's most intimate dramas now traced every move with heightened caution, aware that history was in motion. Revoking access to these staterooms was not merely a symbolic gesture, it was seismic. No royal precedent had prepared the family for such an act. Generations had passed with the understanding that certain spaces remained inviolate, reserved for bloodline, tradition, and ceremonial authority. And yet here, for the first time, a younger generation had drawn a definitive line, a boundary that shattered the old equilibrium and redefined what loyalty, hierarchy, and duty truly demanded. Emotions surged through the palace corridors like an electric current. Loyalty, once unquestioned, now collided violently with personal ambition. The weight of royal duty pressed heavily on Prince William's shoulders, a constant reminder that the crown he would one day inherit demanded both courage and ruthlessness. Betrayal lingered in every corner, a silent accusation from eyes that had seen too much and said too little. Amid this maelstrom, a shadow of something darker loomed. Rumors whispered of items within these chambers that certain individuals had sought to remove, secrets capable of reshaping power, rewriting narratives, and rewriting history itself. The palace, usually a sanctuary of continuity and ceremony, had become a crucible of tension and suspense. Every corridor, every locked door, every silent observer held pieces of a story that the public could scarcely imagine. The confrontation, though invisible to outsiders, crackled with unspoken intensity, a drama of privilege, secrecy, and defiance. For those who served quietly in the background, the implications were chilling. One wrong word, one misstep, and centuries of heritage could unravel. But the story of access denied is only the beginning. The true battle lies in the treasures, secrets, and forbidden history hidden behind those palace doors. Each room, each artifact, and each locked chest contains whispers of ambition, betrayal, and power struggles that will test the family's loyalty and the monarchy's very foundations. The stage is set, the players in motion, and the next act promises revelations more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Few have ever crossed the threshold of the state rooms, and even fewer have truly understood the weight that hangs in the air beyond their gilded doors. These chambers are not simply ornate halls, they are vaults of legacy, repositories of whispered scandals, and silent witnesses to the private triumphs and tragedies of generations of royals. Now, with Prince William's decree closing the doors to a senior family member, an unprecedented tension has taken hold. The key is seized, access denied, and the senior royal stands outside, eyes cast toward forbidden treasures that have always been theirs to glimpse, their pride wounded, their patience tested. The palace, long a symbol of continuity, now thrums with uncertainty, as servants and courtiers alike sense the storm brewing in these once inviolable corridors. Within these rooms lie artifacts of immeasurable significance, letters penned in secrecy, gifts exchanged under veils of loyalty, ceremonial items imbued with history, each carrying the potential to alter perception, sway allegiance, or expose truths long hidden. Rumors ripple through the palace like fire through dry timber, hints that some of these objects have been coveted, sought after for personal advantage, or even to leverage political influence against family members. Every whisper suggests that what rests behind these doors is far more than opulent ornamentation. It is power crystallized, history weaponized, and secrets that could shatter reputations if revealed. For the senior royal, humiliation simmers just beneath the surface. Privilege denied cuts deeper than rebuke, stirring resentment that can twist into obsession. The denial is more than symbolic, it is an affront to identity, a challenge to authority, and a provocation that demands response. Within palace walls, every glance, every quiet step, and every unspoken remark now carries the weight of suspicion. The balance between obedience and defiance hangs by a thread, and the tension is palpable. An electric charge in the air that makes every encounter feel like a silent duel. Speculation runs wild. What exactly has been deemed too volatile for their eyes? Could it be letters exposing alliances, evidence of betrayal, or items that recount decisions better left forgotten? Each possibility deepens the suspense, as palace insiders guard their silence with almost religious devotion, while the senior royal's mind races through scenarios of ambition, subterfuge, and hidden agendas. Even the most loyal staffers cannot suppress a sense of unease. This is a turning point, a fracture in the delicate equilibrium that has long defined royal life. And yet, the most unsettling element remains hidden. The faint but persistent suggestion that an attempt was made to remove something from these rooms, not by open defiance, but through manipulation, secrecy, and calculated deceit. Someone dared to skirt the line between loyalty and ambition, to test the boundaries of what could be taken without consequence. The very air hums with the question, who possessed the audacity, and what was at stake that compelled such a risk? As doors slam shut and the echoes fade into the marble halls, a deeper mystery emerges, one that promises to unravel layers of intrigue and challenge the very authority of the heir apparent. The palace's most sacred chambers guard not only objects of beauty and tradition, but secrets that could ignite rivalries, expose hidden truths, and forever change the balance of power within the monarchy. The story is only beginning, and the questions are far more dangerous than the answers that might lie behind the closed doors. Behind the golden chandeliers, the palace pulsed with a tension that was almost palpable, a shadow war playing out beyond the public eye. Whispers floated through hallways once defined by ceremony, carried by aides, royal advisors, and courtiers who had long perfected the art of silence. Yet now, silence was impossible. Rumors of a conspiracy to remove items of unimaginable significance had begun to seep through the cracks. Every locked door, every guarded chest, every carefully catalogued document became suspect. Was this an attempt to erase history or to weaponize it? Prince William's decisive cancellation of access may have prevented a disaster in its earliest stages. But in doing so, it peeled back layers of secrecy, exposing a labyrinth of hidden agendas that twisted through the monarchy like a shadowy serpent. Within this tangled web, the potential conspirators were not faceless. They moved among the familiar faces of the palace, cloaked in loyalty but driven by ambition. Courtiers who had once been trusted confidants now whispered in corridors, plotting moves only they could see. The items targeted were no ordinary artifacts, letters hinting at alliances, records that could destabilize public trust, ceremonial objects imbued with centuries of symbolism, each a lever of power, each a potential threat in the wrong hands. Every whispered plan, every subtle manipulation, carried the weight of history itself. Loyalty fractured in ways that were almost imperceptible, but deadly in effect. For Prince William, the burden of authority had never felt so isolating. He moved through the palace with a heightened awareness, balancing the demands of crown and conscience, navigating a maze where every choice could be seen as favor or betrayal. Anger and fear intertwined, a constant pulse in his chest, as he realized that even those closest to him could be playing multiple games at once. Every conversation held layers of risk, every glance could mask intent. The line between family and duty blurred, leaving him suspended in a delicate tension that few outside these walls could comprehend. Meanwhile, the senior royal plotted quietly, subtly, their maneuvers calculated with the precision of a master strategist. What appeared to be compliance on the surface was layered with schemes designed to test limits, to probe weaknesses, and to assert influence without drawing immediate attention. The palace had become a chessboard, and each player was weighing the stakes of reputation, legacy, and survival. The senior royal's patience and restraint only heightened the suspense, leaving the palace population guessing which move might erupt into open confrontation. And in this swirl of uncertainty, a shocking possibility emerged. Someone remarkably close to the heir, a figure assumed to be loyal beyond question, may have been complicit. The revelation cut deep, not only challenging Prince William's judgment, but shaking the very foundation of trust within the inner circle. It was a betrayal that was quiet, invisible, but capable of reshaping alliances and fueling the fires of intrigue for years to come. Shadows that had lurked unnoticed now seemed to move with purpose, and the palace itself seemed to hold its breath as each secret, each hint of duplicity, threatened to surface. With trust shattered and shadows moving unseen, the battle for control escalates, drawing even older generations into a vortex of suspicion and scandal. Every family gathering, every consultation, every ceremonial expectation became a delicate negotiation between loyalty and self-preservation. The story was no longer just about access denied or forbidden rooms, it was about power, legacy, and the invisible currents of ambition that flowed silently, yet destructively, beneath the glittering veneer of royal life. Each revelation brought the family closer to confrontation, and the next moves would determine whether the monarchy could survive its own shadows, or whether history itself would be rewritten in whispers and treachery. Royal bloodlines are defined by legacy, and Prince William understood better than anyone the weight that legacy carries. Every decision he made was measured not only against protocol, but against centuries of history, a careful balancing act between authority and compassion. Yet, when a senior royal challenged that legacy, when entitlement and personal vendettas clashed with the careful order of succession, the heir apparent acted decisively. The cancellation of access to the state rooms was not a mere procedural choice, it was a declaration, a boundary drawn in gold and marble that no one, not even the closest of kin, could cross without consequence. But within the hushed corridors and behind locked doors, whispers suggested that this senior royal had a plan, one that could, if executed, destabilize the monarchy, shake public faith, and bring hidden rivalries to light. Prince William's motivations were complex, intertwining duty with personal conviction. He sought to protect not just the material history of the crown, but its moral and symbolic foundations. Each object in those forbidden rooms represented centuries of decision-making, of triumphs and failures, of promises made and promises broken. Allowing unmonitored access risked exposing fractures that could fester, creating narratives that would haunt the monarchy for decades. The weight of leadership, of being the guardian of tradition, pressed heavily upon him, forcing choices that were as cold in execution as they were warm in intention. For the senior royal, entitlement was a lens through which the world was measured. Every denied privilege stoked resentment, every restriction felt like a personal affront. Ambition masked as loyalty, vengeance disguised as right, and the audacity to challenge the heir's authority transformed ordinary palace halls into arenas of psychological warfare. Each whispered plan, each subtle maneuver, amplified tension within a household already burdened by the glare of history. It was a game played with invisible stakes, the preservation of reputation, the assertion of power, and the subtle subversion of rules that had long been considered immutable. The emotional stakes were high, layered with conflicts that could not be resolved through decree alone. Family loyalty collided violently with personal ambition, leaving fractures that neither reconciliation nor time could easily mend. The public eye, ever watchful, lingered like a phantom, ready to judge and sensationalize, while the press and social media began to sense the first tremors of a scandal that could erupt at any moment. Past royal conflicts, once resolved quietly behind walls and corridors, now echoed faintly through every tense interaction, suggesting that the ghosts of previous generations were watching, waiting to see if history would repeat itself. Beneath this tension lay the tantalizing possibility of revelation. Hidden documents, secret letters, artifacts long considered symbolic rather than dangerous, might yet emerge if the palace walls could not contain the storm. Each suppressed secret held the power to ignite controversy, redefine loyalties, and alter public perception. The senior royal's machinations, though subtle, threatened to unleash a chain reaction that would test the resilience of family bonds and the stability of the crown. As loyalties fracture and hidden ambitions rise, the palace transforms from a house of heritage to a battlefield of secrets and betrayals. And the next moves in this shadowed game will determine not just who wields power, but who survives its relentless gaze. In the dead of night, a hush settled over the palace, broken only by the soft echo of hurried footsteps and the faint rustle of silk against marble. Whispers tell of a daring attempt to remove items from the stateroom's documents, artifacts, symbols of authority that had long been shielded by both protocol and secrecy. The operation was calculated with meticulous precision. Every step measured, every glance accounted for, every moment timed to avoid detection. Ambition knows no bounds, and those who orchestrated this silent heist were willing to risk centuries of legacy for the promise of leverage, influence, or vindication. Security was vigilant, yet the palace's labyrinthine corridors and the familiarity of insiders provided the perfect cover for subtle maneuverings that could only be described as audacious, even desperate. The figures involved moved like shadows, blending with the corridors they had known for years. Aides, advisors, perhaps even the senior royal themselves, navigated a dangerous balance between loyalty and ambition. Every whispered decision carried moral weight, every movement a test of courage against conscience. The tension was electric, fear mingled with adrenaline, pushing participants to the edge of recklessness while their hearts hammered against the weight of what could be lost. The palace, normally a theater of ceremony and decorum, became a crucible of suspense, each second stretching impossibly as the fate of hidden treasures and long-guarded secrets hung in the balance. Speculations swirled like smoke through the corridors. What items were worth such risk? Could it be letters exposing alliances, ceremonial objects carrying centuries of authority, or manuscripts whose revelations might destabilize public trust? Each possibility heightened the stakes, creating a silent panic for those responsible, and a quiet anticipation for those who would inevitably discover the act. The very air seemed charged with uncertainty, and the palace itself became a silent witness to ambition colliding with tradition, to courage testing boundaries, and to the fragile trust that binds a royal household. Prince William's response was swift, decisive, and deeply personal. He understood the stakes, both symbolic and material, and moved to ensure that the integrity of the monarchy remained intact. His strategies were precise, blending authority with foresight, cutting through layers of subterfuge without igniting public scandal prematurely. Every choice he made in the unfolding crisis reflected the heavy burden of responsibility he bore, protecting history, maintaining family honor, and safeguarding the crown from both internal and external threats. His awareness that the palace's eyes were watching, even in silence, added a layer of urgency that sharpened his every action. Yet even in his calculated response, a chilling possibility remained. An item, small but significant, may have slipped through the cracks. Its discovery would not just be inconvenient, it could ignite a scandal capable of shaking the foundations of power and reputation. The notion that a single object could disrupt the delicate balance of the monarchy added a haunting edge to the night's tension, a suspense that refused to be contained within stone walls or whispered warnings. The aftermath of this daring act reverberates through the palace, leaving questions unanswered, trust tested, and tempers simmering. It sets the stage for a confrontation that will define relationships, loyalties, and the very structure of power within the royal family. The coming hours, days, and weeks will reveal whether this crisis will heal old wounds or fracture the bonds of family forever, with every secret, every choice, and every hidden agenda now poised to come into the light. The grand hallways of the palace held their breath as Prince William approached the senior royal, each step echoing like a drumbeat of history and expectation. Here, in these corridors steeped in symbolism, every gesture, every glance, carried weight far beyond ordinary confrontation. Words would cut deeper than any blade, and silence could wound more than open accusation. The air was thick with tension, charged by decades of unspoken resentments, suppressed ambitions, and the heavy burden of legacy. Every member of the household who passed silently through these halls felt the electric current of emotion, the anticipation that something long hidden might finally erupt. The confrontation was both personal and emblematic of the monarchy itself. Pride collided with duty, loyalty wrestled with personal ambition, and the ghosts of past betrayals seemed to whisper in the shadows. Prince William, steadfast yet visibly strained, carried the authority of the crown and the responsibility of preserving a lineage that spanned centuries. Opposite him, the senior royal's posture was defiant, a subtle resistance that masked deep humiliation and simmering resentment. Each word exchanged, whether a measured apology, a veiled threat, or an almost imperceptible reveal, layered the moment with complexity, hinting at motives and emotions that had long been suppressed. Dialogue flowed like a river under tension, sometimes calm, sometimes torrential. Veiled apologies hinted at remorse, yet carried the sting of pride. Threats, soft yet menacing, suggested that power was not given lightly, and that loyalty had limits even within family. Secrets hung between sentences, whispered truths that threatened to upend carefully maintained hierarchies. Each revelation reshaped the landscape of trust, exposing vulnerabilities that neither party could fully conceal. The balance of power shifted with every exchanged glance, every measured word, and every breathless pause. Power dynamics defined every motion. Prince William asserted control with a firm but cautious hand, aware that overreach could spark rebellion or public scandal. The senior royal pushed back subtly, testing boundaries, gauging weaknesses, and probing for opportunities to assert influence. Pride, fear, and ambition intertwined, creating a volatile mix that kept even the most seasoned aides at the edge of awareness. Every interaction was a negotiation, a silent struggle to determine who would emerge victorious, and who would bear the weight of compromise and concession. Amid the clash, hints of reconciliation flickered in fleeting gestures, brief acknowledgments of shared history and common interest, yet shadows of permanent estrangement lurked in every unspoken word. The tension was a living thing, bending toward revelation and potential catastrophe, yet tempered by the stakes, family, legacy, and the eyes of a public forever fascinated by royal drama. And then, like a sudden gust revealing a hidden corner, a secret from the past surfaced, an artifact, a letter, a confession so powerful that it shifted the emotional equilibrium, forcing both parties to reconsider their positions, their strategies, and their understanding of one another. As tempers cooled, the hallways exhaled with a fragile stillness, yet the echoes of confrontation lingered, reshaping relationships and priorities alike. In the aftermath, a new plan began to take form, one that promised not just resolution but transformation, a strategy capable of altering the monarchy's public image, redefining loyalty, and steering the course of power in ways that would ripple far beyond the palace walls. This was no ordinary dispute. It was a crucible in which history, emotion, and authority collided, leaving a trail of consequences that would be felt long after the doors had closed. No royal secret remains hidden forever, and the palace quickly discovered that in the age of instant news, silence is impossible. Within hours of Prince William's unprecedented cancellation, social media ignited like wildfire, and tabloids seized every whisper, every subtle gesture, and spun them into headlines designed to shock and provoke. Royal rift exposed. Heir versus senior. Forbidden access sparks scandal. The public was captivated, debating loyalties, speculating motives, and scrutinizing every public appearance for signs of discord. The private dispute, once confined to ornate halls and velvet-draped rooms, had erupted into a spectacle of global fascination. Rumors spread faster than fact, each new thread of speculation amplifying the drama, twisting perception, and threatening to destabilize not just the image of a single family member, but the monarchy itself. Prince William, the heir apparent, found himself under an unprecedented microscope. Every carefully considered decision, every measured word, was dissected and interpreted as either decisive leadership or ruthless authoritarianism. The tension between preserving tradition and asserting authority played out not only behind closed doors, but in headlines, tweets, and opinion columns that reached millions within moments. Meanwhile, the senior royals' narrative began to circulate as well, portraying them as a figure denied their rightful access, a victim of political maneuvering within the family, a story carefully curated to evoke sympathy and outrage. Public perception shifted with each passing hour, creating a storm of divided loyalties that echoed far beyond the gilded walls of the palace. Inside the palace, the emotional toll was profound. Staff, accustomed to discretion and quiet order, found themselves navigating a heightened atmosphere of tension, their loyalty questioned and their every action scrutinized by a public eager for scandal. Family members, aware that private disagreements had become global spectacle, felt the strain of expectation, reputation, and the impossible standards placed upon them by both duty and media. The corridors of power, once dominated by subtle gestures and hushed conversations, were now charged with a kind of nervous energy that crackled through every meeting, every planning session, every whispered interaction. Speculation intensified with each new revelation or perceived slight. Would the senior royal's ambitions extend further, revealing secrets too volatile for public eyes? Was there a deeper story lurking beneath the surface of this apparent conflict, a hidden truth that had yet to emerge but would forever change public understanding of the family? Each hint of intrigue, each careful leak, teased at revelations that promised to shake foundations, exposing vulnerabilities and hidden tensions previously confined to history, tradition, and private counsel. The monarchy, long a symbol of continuity and authority, now faced a dual challenge: managing the private consequences of betrayal and ambition, while simultaneously navigating the relentless scrutiny of a global audience hungry for drama, truth, and spectacle. Every decision, every calculated response, carried not just personal or familial weight, but the expectations of millions watching from afar. The palace, its legacy, and the future of the crown hung precariously between secrecy and exposure. As the public watches, the monarchy faces its greatest challenge, yet not just from within, but from the global eye demanding truth and spectacle, leaving every whispered secret and every private conflict poised to explode into public consciousness. At last, after weeks of hushed speculation and sleepless nights, the forbidden item emerged from the shadows, its presence electrifying the very air of the palace. It was more than a mere object. It was a letter, a document, a relic whose significance had been deliberately concealed, its secrets tightly bound within centuries of carefully curated history. The moment it was revealed, the palace seemed to pause. Allies and adversaries alike recoiled in shock, their faces betraying awe, disbelief, and the first tremors of fear. Some trembled at the thought of what the contents implied, others burned with anger at the audacity of its concealment. For a moment, the carefully orchestrated rhythms of royal life faltered, replaced by a quiet, almost unbearable tension, the kind that precedes monumental change. The item itself was enigmatic, its origins and implications layered with controversy. It contained hints of alliances that had been hidden, decisions made in secrecy, and references to power that could destabilize assumptions about the monarchy's inner workings. Each line, each mark, seemed to whisper truths that had been long denied. Truths capable of reshaping the understanding of loyalty, authority, and historical legacy. Speculation ran rampant. Could this revelation alter the line of succession, change alliances, or even expose motives previously cloaked in discretion? The implications were dizzying, threatening to rewrite narratives that had been considered immutable. Emotion surged through the palace as the ramifications became clear. Awe mixed with disbelief, anger interlaced with a kind of grim resignation, and the weight of history pressed heavily upon every observer. The senior royal, already at the center of the storm, now found themselves entangled in an even more intricate web of intrigue and consequence. Prince William, steadfast yet visibly burdened, recognized the profound responsibility that came with such a discovery. Every move he made now carried the potential to either stabilize the monarchy or ignite conflict that could spread beyond the gilded walls. The power dynamics shifted almost instantly. Allies reassessed loyalties, competitors recalculated strategies, and subtle alliances reformed in the wake of this revelation. Courtiers and advisors who had long wielded influence quietly found themselves navigating a new hierarchy, one informed not by tradition alone, but by the raw, destabilizing truth now in their hands. Even those who had seemed untouchable now paused, uncertain how to act in the presence of a secret so potent that it could undermine authority and redefine relationships in ways previously unimaginable. And yet, the sense of revelation carried with it a gnawing unease. This forbidden item was likely only the beginning. If one secret had surfaced, others might yet lie hidden, waiting to emerge and further challenge the monarchy's carefully maintained order. Each revelation promised to intensify the stakes, magnifying the collision of loyalty, betrayal, and legacy that had long simmered just beneath the surface. The palace itself seemed transformed, charged with a tension that would not easily dissipate, as history pressed against the present, demanding reckoning. With secrets now laid bare, the royal family must navigate a storm of truth, deception, and ambition, every choice echoing through history itself, every decision shaping not only who holds power, but how the monarchy will be remembered by generations to come. The fragile equilibrium of tradition, authority, and family loyalty teeters on the edge, and the consequences of each action will reverberate far beyond the marble halls and gilded chambers of the palace. The dust settles over the palace, but the echoes of scandal refuse to fade. The decisions made, the forbidden access revoked, the attempted removal, and the confrontation, all culminating in the revelation of long-hidden secrets, have reshaped the corridors of power forever. Prince William stands at the center, his authority tested and proven, a figure of decisive action and moral clarity. Every choice he made reverberated not only through the marble halls, but through the very essence of the monarchy, reinforcing his role as guardian of history and custodian of legacy. His hand, firm yet measured, has drawn lines that few dared to imagine, demonstrating that leadership is not just a matter of birthright, but of courage, judgment, and unwavering commitment to principle. For the senior royal, the aftermath is a storm of emotion. Resentment simmers beneath the surface, mingled with the sting of shame, the weight of being denied, and the bitter recognition of limits imposed by authority and circumstance. Yet within this complex tangle of emotions, glimpses of understanding emerge, a grudging acknowledgement that the decisions taken were perhaps necessary, that loyalty and legacy demand sacrifice, and that ambition, no matter how compelling, must contend with the structures and traditions that define royal life. The emotional landscape is intricate, a collision of pride, regret, and reflection that ensures the human cost of power is felt by all who dwell within these walls. The palace itself bears the mark of transformation, both symbolic and literal. The corridors echo with the residue of confrontation, every locked door and gilded frame now a reminder of what was at stake. The hierarchy has shifted subtly, alliances recalibrated, and the weight of secrecy feels more pressing than ever. Staff, courtiers, and even distant family members move within a space that has been irrevocably altered, where every gesture carries unspoken significance, and every conversation carries the memory of events that could have shattered the monarchy entirely. Public perception, too, is irrevocably changed. The monarchy emerges from this crisis with a renewed, if fragile, sense of authority, but the world watches with scrutiny, ready to seize upon the next hint of scandal. Speculation about future dynamics, loyalties, and public image buzzes through media outlets and private conversations alike. The palace, long a bastion of discretion, now operates under a heightened awareness that every action may ripple far beyond its walls. A new balance of power has been tentatively established, yet the sense of incompleteness lingers. Secrets remain buried, promises remain unspoken, and the palace holds its breath for the next revelation that may challenge this fragile equilibrium. Loyalty, betrayal, ambition, and truth intertwine, leaving the monarchy poised on a precipice where every decision can either fortify its legacy or expose its vulnerabilities. The drama that unfolded has set a precedent, yet history is never truly settled, and the chapters of power remain unfinished. As the golden gates close, one truth remains. In the heart of the monarchy, power, loyalty, and secrecy are inseparable, and the next storm is never far away. The palace, for all its splendor, will continue to guard its mysteries, but the echoes of what has transpired will resonate through generations, shaping the stories yet to come.